Hello, everyone. I'd like to call this meeting to order. First item on the agenda is the Pledge of Allegiance.
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you very much. Next item on the agenda is the adoption of the
Romano adopts the agenda.
Romano adopts the agenda. Zinner supports. Please vote.
Zong votes yes.
Motion passes 12-0.
Thank you very much. Next item on the agenda is the approval of the minutes dated December 15th, 2021. I'd like to have a motion to approve.
So move, Hall.
Moved by Hall, support by Sabatini. Any discussion? Please vote.
Zong votes yes.
Motion passes 12-0.
Okay, we're on a roll. Public participation. This is the first opportunity for public participation. It's for those who wish to speak for a maximum of 3 minutes on an item which is on today's agenda. Second opportunity will be provided for public participation for those that wish to speak on any issue later in the meeting. Seeing no one else, we're going to move beyond public participation to department recommendations. So you're the...
I suppose this is where I would step up.
There we go. All right. Department recommendations. First item is 6A. It's the cost share agreement, Washington Township, the West Road resurfacing. I'd like to have a motion to recommend full board.
Move to full board.
Motion by Matuzak, support. Support by Zinner. And if you could state your name, I'm sorry, I don't know you.
My name is Scott Wanigat. I'm the county highway engineer. Signing in
Excellent,
for
Scott. Welcome to
Brian.
the group. And if you can briefly tell us about this.
Sure. This is requesting the approval for the cost share agreement outlining the cost participation between Washington Township and the Macomb County Department of Roads for the resurfacing of West Road from Van Dyke to Mound at an estimated cost of $1,231,655. Funding is available in the fiscal year 2022 Department of Roads construction budget.
Thank you. The county portion is just under 500, right?
Yes, I believe that is a 60-40 cost share on this
Yep.
one.
That's what I thought. Seeing no speakers, please vote. Oh, someone slip in? Zinner? Commissioner Zinner.
Thank you, Chair. When you have estimated on there, when you have all these plans and everything drawn up, you have estimated, what percentage do you expect you might get to when you have this estimated cost? What is the plan that you think you might go over? When you have an idea, right?
We typically will base the construction cost, the unit prices, on the available data that we have, which is based off of MDOT's unit pricing guide for all the various pay items associated with the project. We try and factor in inflationary costs as much as possible. And there are, what this is estimated at, it's based on, what we'll go out and evaluate and measure up and get some basic quantities at the onset. And we'll have usually after this a more refined estimate that gets us closer to what the true dollar amount is. But relatively speaking, we're right in the ballpark on most of these.
Do you know when you'll be starting this project?
It is planned to start this spring, so we're in the midst of developing plans and coming up with a final cost estimate for this.
Thank you very much.
Seeing no other speakers, please vote.
Motion passes 12-0.
Thank you very much. Next item on the agenda is 6B. This is a cost share agreement. Clinton Township, the Quinn Road resurfacing. I'd like to motion to recommend full board.
So move, Hall.
Support, Van Sickle.
Moved by Hall, supported by Wallace. Please.
This is a request to approve the cost share agreement outlining the cost participation between Clinton Township and the Macomb County Department of Roads for the resurfacing of Quinn Road from, Gratiot to Harper, at an estimated cost of $1,794,625. Funding is available in the 2022 Department of Roads construction budget.
Thinking, last time we had this question, I just forget, why are some 60/40 and some 50/50?
That is that's been the historical breakdown between our primary and local roads.
That's right. Thank you. Commissioner Hall.
Thank you, Chair. You just asked my question. So,
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I'm not appearing on my list of details here, so I don't know what's happening with the system. You got me. All right, good. I just wanted to say I am incredibly pleased that the Quinn Road is finally moved to the top of the list. I actually go to church on this road. It is a terrible road. The township has been investing significant amounts into Prince Drury Park, as well as the churches, schools, 2 housing developments, all on this road. So I'm incredibly happy that this is going to be done this year.
Looking forward to it as well.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
You can tell by the smile on her face.
Smiling with my eyes.
Any other no other speakers, please vote.
Yeah, I seem to not be able to get.
eyes are the gateway to the soul.
Motion passes 12-0.
Next item is 6C, cost share agreement, Sterling Heights. This is the Metropolitan Parkway resurfacing. I'd like a motion to recommend a full board.
So move, Van Sickle.
Van Sickle makes a motion. Support. Support by Wallace. Thank you very much. Go ahead.
Okay, this is request to approve the cost share agreement outlining the cost participation between Sterling Heights and the Macomb County Department of Roads for the resurfacing of Metropolitan Parkway from Ryan Road to DeQuinder Road at an estimated cost of $5,120,000. Funding is available in the fiscal year 2022 Department of Roads construction budget.
Thank you very much, Commissioner Song.
Thank you, Chair. Hi, Scott. How are you?
Good, how are you?
How come Brian's not here today?
Brian is out this week.
Okay, not that I didn't want to see you.
Yeah.
Just wondering. I'm going to echo Commissioner Matuzik about this stretch of 16-mile. I brought it up a few times, and I think it's in much needed repair. I am a little surprised with the cost, though. I know it's like four lanes on each side, and is that why the cost is more? Because this is a pretty small stretch of 16-mile.
This is pretty typical with what we see for a mile-long stretch, especially this section of Metro Parkway for mill base repair and overlay for the 2 lanes. And I believe that this also includes the intersection as well at Ryan Road, which is also kind of adds to the cost as well.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you, Chair.
Commissioner Zinner.
Thank you, Chair. Scott, I have a question for you. I'm sure there'll be some homes along that area, driveways, and do you think you'll probably have to redo an access to those driveways, possibly?
Typically with this type of project, it's meant to be rehabilitation, so it's focused primarily on just the roads. We're not changing the grade, so the drive approaches themselves won't need to be touched. There might be some curb and gutter out in front of them that may need to get replaced, but oftentimes that's done in a staged approach to allow residents to still access their drive approaches. We'll work on half of it at one point, and once we get the cure time on that, go to half on the other.
I'm going to ask you a question then. In case when the county does roads, some road, and a driveway is done and it needs to be redone, is that citizen charged for the work to be redone? If there's a problem and they have to redo it, is the citizen charged for that? Or
No, typically, if the contract is, if there's a immediate problem that surfaces, within the time frame of the project still being, it usually takes us a little while to close out the projects, but if, say there's some premature cracking that begins or something along those lines, or there's just faulty construction, we will go back to the contractor and have them address that issue.
So the citizen would not be charged then?
No.
Thank you very much for answering that question. Thank you, Chair.
Yep.
Thank you. I guess I have a question. This is for a 1 mile stretch. Do we gain significant savings if we do 2 miles at a time?
Sometimes there can be economy of scale. With this particular project, we focused on this one. We also have a federal aid project that is further to the east between Van Dyke and Dodge Park, where we're receiving the same treatment, same work. We're also trying to keep this in mind with relation to the Innovate Mound project, which is kind of bisecting both these locations. So in some cases, yes, economy of scale is sought after. In this case, we kind of wanted to keep that buffer zone so that congestion of traffic is not over the amount for what we want to do for the motorists.
Seeing no other speakers, please vote.
Motion passes 12-0.
We're going to move on to item, 6D. This is the MDOT fiber optic cable installation project. I'd like a motion to recommend full board. So moved by Wallace. Support?
Support, Song.
Support by Song.
Requesting approval of the contract with the Michigan Department of Transportation outlining the fiber optic cable installation at various locations from January 20 of 2022 to completion of the project at the estimated cost of $2,633,200, with the Department of Road share estimated at $206,200. Funding is available in the fiscal year 2022 construction budget.
Chairman Brown?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Scott, is this for traffic signals? What's the fiber for? Or just a long mound road?
I'll do my best to answer this because this is typically John Abraham's department. But the fiber optic installation is generally it is associated with traffic signals and the traffic network where we're installing that fiber optics and that conduit to bring all of those the functionality of the traffic signals to the Department of Roads, installing the conduit that's needed to control from the control center at the Department of Roads.
Is this going to be a long mound road, or is it?
I believe it's highlighted here, installation along Metro Parkway, Utica Road, Hayes, Groesbeck, and Harper.
I'm sorry, I didn't read that far down. I'm sorry.
Yep.
Very good. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Commissioner Matuzak?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I always love when I find a new source of road money. The Congestion Mitigation and Air Quality Improvement Fund. How much money do we get as a county from that fund per year?
That I don't have the exact figures on. Like I said, that's usually through our traffic department. That's what we refer to as CMAQ funding. And
can it only be used for things like fiber optics, or can it be used for other things?
no, a lot of times it goes towards intersection improvements, things along those lines. I'd have to get some more specifics from.
I'm all about the specifics. How do we apply for this money?
It's funding that we apply for year after year. It works similar to the way that the Department of Roads within the engineering department, where we get federal funds from FHWA and the state through that program. So that's more traffic related. So it's related mostly to traffic items.
And how do decisions get made about where this money is spent?
I believe there's an application process similar to what we go through with the road applications. Applications are submitted and reviewed and scored accordingly, and then the funding is awarded based on those criteria.
Okay, I would really appreciate any additional information about this fund and how much money we get and
I
where
will make
we've
a
used
note
it.
and see about
Yeah,
getting
if you can send it through our staff, that'd be appreciated. Thank you, Scott.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. Good questions. Seeing no other speakers, please vote.
Motion passes 12-0.
Unless there's disagreement, I'd like to take items 6E and F together.
So move, Hall.
So moved by Hall. Support by Romano. Scott, please.
Okay, this is the request to adopt the resolution to authorize Macomb County Department of Roads to purchase federal funding from the Antrim County Road Commission at an estimated amount of $464,277 and to rescind the resolution number cited there, which was previously adopted on December 16th, 2021 relating to this transaction, as well as the associated agreement for the same.
Commissioner Van Sickle.
Thank you, Chair. Good afternoon.
Afternoon.
There's several of these very similar resolutions. They're sort of written all over the place. And this one in particular starts off with you're estimating the funds, and then later we specifically have a specific amount. Also in the recommendation sheet, it says that the cost of this is $464,277, which is not the cost. The cost is 80% of that. I would like to see a little more care taken in writing these recommendation sheets. Not to jump ahead too much, but some of the other recommendation sheets on some of the other projects don't have the costs specified. And does anybody proofread these?
If I may just provide a little bit of background that may hopefully kind of address some of the questions. I couldn't help but overhear some of your conversation prior to this. This is a program that we just recently started in with. It's been a program that's been available through the County Road Association of Michigan. The intent of it was always to allow for some of the more rural counties that receive federal dollars from the government to exchange those dollars for non-federal, which they, up in the rural counties, they are not quite as set up to handle the administrative costs, the administrative tracking of all those federal funds the same way that someone like an urban county like Oakland or Macomb would be. In previous years, it was never really to the county's benefit because it was a direct rural to rural dollar usage. Those dollars could only be used on rural routes within Macomb County. So we really didn't see any valuable savings at that time. There's been a recent change that allows for those dollars to now be flexible and used to be used on urban routes here in the urban centers like Macomb, which is why we entered into it. As a result, normally the resolutions would have been done probably earlier in the year and would have come before you to serve as a placeholder until that time when the final dollar amounts for the actual funding targets were realized. That's information that's provided by the government once they have those final dollar amounts. What you're seeing before you today is both the resolution and the agreement kind of appearing before you in tandem. That's why one says estimated and the other one is the actual cost.
They seem to be all over the board, though, in the way they're written. And I'd like to see if you have 4 or 5 different things being submitted that are basically the same. I'd like to see them be a little bit more uniform, because that way when you start reading them and you want to compare them or anything, it's much easier to compare. Also, this particular one, it lists the cost as what you're buying as opposed to the 80% of that number, which would be the actual cost of it.
Are you referring to the resolution or the agreement?
The recommendation sheet. I understand that that's not the exact resolution, but it's supplied to help us get through this, and I feel it's important to have all the numbers be correct.
Oh, I see where
If I may, Commissioner, our staff writes the resolution, correct, Kyle?
The actual motion language, our staff writes.
Right.
The sections on the recommendation sheet, then blue, that I'm questioning, I understand comes from the road
So any
department.
resolution we can take care of internally, and I think they will. So your comments on the recommendation sheet, correct, Commissioner?
Yeah. The recommendation sheet that I'm referring to
Yep.
with the issues is from the road
Right,
department.
right. That's what I'm
Yeah,
saying. That's
yeah.
what you're referring to. Okay.
So, I mean.
So
the mo-
going forward, Scott, if you make sure that we use the same format all the time is what. the
Just so I'm clear,
Commissioner
is that this page that I'm looking at here?
Yes, I believe so, if my eyesight works.
But it's,
Yes.
so it'd be the second sheet of
Yeah,
that up here.
just keep the same format. What he's saying, if I could, is make sure you have all three sets of numbers.
Yeah, after the meeting, I can give you a couple notes.
Okay.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you, Chair.
Commissioner Matuzak.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I think this is a great idea. I think that we trade federal money for state money and we get a 20% discount on the whole package is a win-win for both the rural counties and for Macomb. So I encourage you all to go find more counties who can't spend their money, and we'll take it at a 20% discount. Thank you.
Call up Wisconsin, Minnesota, we'll take all their money. Commissioner Kleinfeld.
You know, I'm wondering if the confusion on the wording, at least that particular one, is because the first one is the resolution and the second one's the amendment. So the amendment deals with our dollars. The resolution might be dealing with the dollars that are in the resolution. I read it like 3 times and it kind of, it's confusing, but you're right, they should be uniform. Thank you.
One of the other issues that we realize is with the new legislation, the funding that was coming through, we had one target dollar amount that we received from all the counties, and then they came to us at like the last minute and said, we've got new targets now, we need to change these, and it was after the point which it had already come before you all. So yes, there was a bit of overlap and things of that nature that occurred. So we're hopeful and going through this now once that in the future we'll have it honed in much better.
Commissioner Sabatini.
Thank you, Chair. Just in regards to Commissioner Van Sickle's question, that's one of the things I brought up at our last meeting in regards to the BOC recommendation form, which I talked with staff, and they're going to be revising that and asking for input, make it a little bit easier, make the process easier. So that is being worked on. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you for that information. Seeing no other speakers, please vote.
Motion passes 12-0.
If there's no problems, I'd like to get a motion. Items 6G and H, the resolution authorizing Macomb County to purchase federal funding from Allegan County, as well as H, covering the transfer of federal funds. Please, that motion on the resolution of G and H.
So
Matuzak
moved.
moves the full board.
Wallace and supported by David Sickle.
Similar to the previous, requesting the adoption of the resolution and agreement to authorize Macomb County Department of Roads to purchase federal funding from the Allegan County Road Commission at an estimated amount of $1,435,298, and to rescind the resolution 2021-7438, which was previously adopted on December 16th, 2021.
Thank you. I meant to ask this last time. What was the difference? I mean, why was there a change in these two?
As I was stating before, with the introduction of the new legislation that introduces more federal funds that were effective as of 2022, that changed a lot of the target amounts that various communities had to reach. So
Okay.
they all resulted in more.
Thank you. Seeing no other speakers, please vote.
Motion passes 12-0.
We're on to item 6I and J. I'll take them together. This is Resolution 2022-7851 to authorize Macomb County Department of Roads to purchase federal funding from Cass County, not Cass Avenue, Cass County. I'd like to have a motion to put I and J together and recommend to full board.
So move, Hall.
Moved by Hall, supported by Sabatini. Scott, thank you.
Requesting adoption of the resolution agreement to authorize Macomb County Department of Roads to purchase federal funding from the Cass County Road Commission at an estimated amount of $414,044.
Seeing no speakers, please vote.
Motion passes 12-0.
Next, I'd like to bring up items K and L. This is a resolution, Macomb County Department of Roads, Resolution 2022-7852. This is a purchase from Iron County. I'd like to have a motion to recommend full board 6K and 6L combined.
So move, Van Sickle.
Moved by Van Sickle. Support by Zinner. Scott?
Requesting the adoption of the resolution and agreement to authorize Macomb County Department of Roads to purchase federal funding from the Iron County Road Commission at an estimated amount of $337,000.
Seeing no speakers, please vote.
Motion passes 12-0.
All right, we're going for an undefeated season. Item 6M, contract with MDOT Bridge Reconstruction. This is New Haven Road over at Coon Creek. I'd like to have a motion to recommend to full board.
So moved, Kraft.
Moved by Kraft, support. Who said that? Support by Wallace. Scott.
Requesting approval of the MDOT contract with the Macomb County Department of Roads for the reconstruction of the New Haven Road Bridge over the east branch of Coon Creek in Lennox Township at a total estimated cost of $2,081,600.
Commissioners in it.
Thank you, Chair. Scott, will you be using steel beams for that bridge?
This will be concrete bulb T-beams.
Do you know if you have any steel beams coming in yet?
We won't be using steel beams on this bridge.
My question is, there's a bridge by where I live that still doesn't have steel beams. That's what they told me there, that they needed steel beams. Do you know if steel beams are coming in yet?
I'm not familiar with what that project is.
Okay. It's on Harper, near Harrison Township.
Oh,
Township?
they're waiting for the steel pin and hanger assemblies on that bridge. They have those now, and they are beginning that replacement of those pin and hangers.
So they got the steel beams in?
They have the pin and hanger. It's not the beams, but it's the pins that are used for the connections at the beams.
Well, one of the the manager there told me he needed beams.
It wasn't beams. It was pins. That's what they were waiting on.
In December. Okay, thank you very much.
Yep.
Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Commissioner Kraft.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Hey, Scott. On the form, it says the start date is tomorrow, obviously pending full board approval, but it hasn't gone out to bid yet. So I'm guessing MDOT's going to start out going to bid tomorrow once
Correct.
that approval happens?
It's advertised, and it is scheduled for a February 4th letting on this. So that will be when the letting starts, and we are anticipated to start in March.
Is there an anticipated end date as long as we have enough pins and
Oh, are you referring to the Harper Bridge?
No, I'm this one right here. I'm just
Okay.
I'm just kidding.
No,
I just
okay.
want my bridge done before Commissioner's Inners. That's is there an estimated end?
So we estimate probably sometime around June for the New Haven project. It's roughly about 3 months for a full reconstruct on a project of that size.
Okay. Thank you, Scott. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Commissioner Van Sickle.
Thank you, Chair. Did I understand you to say there's no steel beams in this bridge?
This bridge is using concrete bulb T beams.
I didn't understand all those words.
They're pre-stressed concrete fabricated beams that beams are built out of concrete using steel tendons for the tension support required. Very, very common on many of the bridges that we use. Back 50, 60 years ago, steel was the product to use. Nowadays, concrete is kind of the route that most agencies go with. They're a little bit longer lasting, less maintenance than the steel beams in many regards.
Now, is that cables or rods that you pre-stress?
They are steel strands, so they're kind of like a cable suspension bridge. Same idea. Taking a strand, pre-stressing it, casting the beam around it, and then cutting it to release it. That gives it the pre-stress in the beam, so that when we place the deck it prevents that cracking at the bottom of the beam.
Is that metal treated so that it won't rust or oxidize or whatever over time?
Once it's in the beam, it's shielded from the elements, so it doesn't need to be treated, except for at the very ends where we usually cover it with epoxy in that regard.
Water seems to go through cement.
There's lots of different avenues for trying to do carbon fiber, different alternatives for pre-stressing these beams. However, they're currently very cost prohibitive when trying to do some of these projects, meaning that the price of them has not kind of come down to what is a reasonable cost in the industry. They're still in the earlier stages of kind of research and development.
Does the manufacturer of these give you an expected life?
Generally, these bridges are designed for 60 to 70 years of service.
Okay, so we expect to redo it 60 or 70 years from now?
With proper maintenance and everything, we usually are able to get a good stretch of life out of these, yes.
Okay, thank you very much. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. I can't wait to see the refurbish in my old age. Commissioner
At least the
Matusek.
bridges in my community got old oak bridges. We don't have, like you have steel. We got old wooden bridges.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. The question and I'm sure all of my colleagues get asked once construction season starts is, when does my project start and when is it going to be done? The website and the Department of Roads sort of has them generically listed. They say things like spring, fall. Is there any way to get that tightened up a little bit?
Unfortunately, no. Mainly because there's so much volatility in, a lot of things are, number one, primarily weather dependent. You have a lot of subcontractors that you coordinate that are also working on various jobs across the county, across the state. So one delay on one project causes, delays on others, where the prime contractor might be ready for them to come in, but the sub can't make it in until, say, 5 days later, something along those lines. So there's a lot of those. We're also experiencing and trying as best we can to mitigate material delays. Things like precast concrete box culverts. We're seeing anywhere from 14 to 18 weeks of lead time before we receive those on site. So trying to plan projects around that, also around stream restrictions, placed by Eagle, with being able to work within the waterways, coordinating with other projects set to start in nearby areas. So there's a lot of factors that we're kind of juggling. So to put a specific date is to avoid disappointment of people when it doesn't come, and fielding the myriad of phone calls when you said it was going to be done by this date and it's not. That's why we kind of go with the general description. And as we get closer to that, we can kind of hone that in a little bit better.
I'm all about honing it in a little better because the questions just keep coming. So even if we got it from fall to November, or something like that, that would be very helpful.
We generally on our web page will put the list of projects for the year with those general dates, and then we put out our weekly updates for the active projects that are going on. I know Eric Dimoff at our office puts those out, and those get distributed, and those have a little bit more concrete dates on there as far as actual start time and estimated finish time.
Okay, thank you. Thank you,
Those are the
Mr.
ones
Chair.
that we update when we're able to, when we have a better idea from the contractor when they're going to be finished.
Just always get lots of questions.
Thank you, Chair Brown.
Thank you. Along with Commissioner Matuzik, they do give you project sheets when they come out. When your project's going out in your community, they're going to send you sheets, and I've seen them through the years. Does give you good information once they start, who the contact for the project is, information that we need as commissioners. If there's a question, they got points of contact for our local municipalities to contact or us personally. So once they get the projects going, you're going to get a lot of detailed information, and oftentimes I'll put that out to my community through social media, let them know this project's being worked on, be advised, and it supplements what the administration puts out, because it's a little more personal touch through us because we're local there. So you can look for that, and they've been, you probably received them. I mean, maybe you didn't pay attention to them possibly, or didn't get any in your community, but those are good sheets to get. And he did refer. Who is it puts those together? What did you call those sheets at the end?
Our weekly construction update.
Yeah, your weekly updates. So we'll make sure that everyone's on the list. We'll send a note over to the road commission and ask them to put us all on the list for weekly updates. And you'll get them all. You're going to get stuff that is in your district, but once in a while you'll look and say, hey, there's one in my district. All right. So be advised. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you very much. Seeing no other speakers, please vote.
Motion passes 12-0.
Thank you very much. Next item on the agenda is the second public participation. Seeing that no one's in the room, we're going to skip right over that and go to Commissioner's comment. Commissioner Song.
Thank you, Chair. Earlier today, we did get a response from Corporate Counsel regarding the social media policy, and I would just like to ask staff if he could send it out to everyone. And with that said, I believe it was just an email saying that he had no issues with the social media policy that we did pass in committee, given that we removed that sentence about deleting comments, etc. During our closed sessions, I know with our independent counsel, he provides us with a written brief. I just don't know if that's something that other commissioners, is that something that you would require in order to get a more formal answer from him, or would the email be sufficient enough? Just because we do have it on full board. And so I just want to make sure everyone is okay with the informal email confirmation from corporate counsel, or if you would prefer something more formal like the written brief.
I'm okay with just the email. Is there anyone that needs a formal written memo? No. Thank you very much for bringing it up.
Thank you, Chair. Okay, and sorry,
ahead.
not done yet.
No, go ahead.
To add on to that, the sentence that we removed was that we would not remove anyone's comments on our social media platforms. With that said, I believe that we've had a few posts on our Facebook page. We don't get a lot of comments, but we might get like occasionally one or two. And there was one most recently that you could tell that there was a comment, but when you clicked on it, there was nothing there. So what that tells me is whoever is administering our social media would have hid the comment using that option that is available. And I'm a little concerned about that because I feel that that's still censoring the person that's posting, even though it's not deleted. Technically, the only person that can see it is the person that wrote it. So I'm concerned about that, and I just wonder if it's the firm that's doing it or whoever's managing our social media. I just want to make sure that they don't do that. One thing that I was thinking about when we were in committee was if someone actually posted something threatening or harassing, like targeting one individual person, Facebook and other social media outlets do have an option where the user can report that comment, and then it can be removed by the platform. So in those instances, I think that's something that, is out of our control. But if we're really concerned about what people have to say, and if we're trying to hide it by passing this social media policy, we're going against what we're passing. So I just hope that I'm making sense here. Thank you, Chair.
If I can clarify for my purposes, you're saying something that prior to today was written was potentially hidden.
Yes.
But at the same point, we haven't approved the social media policy, so under the old policy, that would have been okay, but going forward, we can't.
I don't think that would be okay because, again, I think that's violating the Constitution. It's unconstitutional to infringe on anyone's freedom of speech.
Right, but going forward is what I'm concerned about. And your comments are well taken. Going forward, because I wasn't here last week, the policy says we cannot do that, correct?
Yes, we cannot do that.
Okay.
So when an administrator is hiding a comment, it's like if we had public comment and someone came and talked and you muted the microphone, you're censoring that person. So essentially, like that's, to me, in the digital space, is that you've hid that person's comment and no one can see it except that person.
So noted. Thank you.
Thank you.
Commissioner Zinner.
Thank you, Chair. I wanted to remind everyone that Friday at Zucchero's Banquets on Gratiot, just below 21 Mile, is the Wirtz Warrior Banquet. If anyone can come, please come. They're serving from 1 o'clock on, and the proclamation, if passed, will be done at 7:30. Will be presented at 7:30 at night, not at 6, between 6 and 6:30. They've changed that, and it'd be nice to have commissioners there because it'll be from the commissioners, and if not, then it'll be nice to support them because they support Special Olympic Winter Games, and it'll be a great group of people. And just want to let you know and the public know about that. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Commissioner Kleinfeld.
Thank you, Chair. With respect to what Mai brought up, she and I had a conversation about it, and I originally thought because it was a repost, maybe that comment was part of the picture of the repost, but I scrolled down and found another one that was a direct post from us that the comment was hidden. It wasn't deleted because it said there was a comment on there, but whether, I think that the top one happened after we forwarded it, but whether we've finished that policy or not, the Supreme Court has already determined that that's unconstitutional, so that trumps anything we do anyway. And it just may be that we don't know who are all the administrators on our accounts. If we don't know if Hunch Free is. It just may be that the word hasn't gotten out to everybody that deals with our accounts is all.
Chairman,
that's the only thing I could think of. I don't know if there's another explanation.
Chairman, if you and the staff can make sure that that's followed up on properly.
Thank you. I don't know anything about this, so I don't know what the.
I don't
I don't
either.
know what happened.
I was trying to explain
And
it.
there may be reasons that things appear, and I don't know. There may be technical reasons why something appears the way it does on social. I don't know.
Yeah,
we'll
but
check
can
it
you
out.
have staff follow
It is
up
what it
to
is.
get the answers? Thank you
We'll
very much.
check it out.
Right. I'm certainly not assessing any
No, I don't know.
somebody,
I don't know. We'll find out, though.
When I worked on the change for the Switalski resolution, I did that before the committee meeting. It should have been at your desks at that committee meeting. It was not. I then said at the committee that I would be offering it as a substitute at full board. It's still not in here for you to see. It should be in here for you to see. That meeting is tomorrow, so I've asked staff to put it in. I do not plan on any debate. If commissioners like the wording of it, they can approve it. If they don't like the wording of it, it won't pass, and we'll go on to the other one. I don't plan on any discussion. I just do plan on you guys having the ability to see it because I worked on it before committee, and you never did get to see it. So I've asked them to do that, and I think that they should have both of them framed and ready to go so that whatever is passed can be handed to them immediately. I would assume by possibly Commissioner Ha, because he's known them the longest as far as I know. I don't know who's giving that presentation. But anyway, Just wanted to let you all know that.
Commissioner Hall, only because your name was brought up. Any comments?
Your name was brought up as the author, but you weren't listed on there as the author. So I didn't know that. So I apologize to you if you were the author. I did not know that prior to the meeting because your name wasn't listed. Chair Brown's was. But I do know that you've known him the longest and you're the closest to him. So anyway, I just wanted to let everybody know that. I've made that request, so you have that opportunity. Thank you.
Commissioner Van Sickle?
Thank you, Chair. Do any of my esteemed colleagues bringing up the board view at home, is it painfully slow for other people or just me?
Mine works just fine at home.
I'm having a problem here. I've been showing him the whole meeting. I've been blank screened for 15 seconds.
That's the mute button we put on yours.
Well, I opened up several of the documents and they just sat there and spun and spun and spun. So I went back and then reopened it and they opened up the second time, seemingly okay. But I didn't like the back and forth. I was wondering if we could have, if other people are experiencing the same thing, I wonder, do we have a staff person who is the contact for this piece of software? Can we maybe have Luke contact them, or is there any updates they could install that maybe will take care of this issue? Or
We're working on it.
because it seems to be the website, it doesn't seem to be the PCs.
We've had to take it open with them.
Wait, Luke? Luke? You use my microphone?
Okay, thanks. There was a migration with Civic Clerk done in September. Since then, we've had a lot of slowness issues. We've had a ticket open. We've been reaching out to them with examples almost every meeting with slowness, and I've been not letting them get away with anything. We've all worked on it together, the slowness. We've tested with hotspots, different wireless connections, internet connections. So we're definitely combating the slowness. We have a number of reasons why that we're troubleshooting, that we're looking into, but it does appear to be something on their end, and they are investigating it, and we're not letting them get away with much. So we're keeping on them for absolute sure. But yeah, we are aware of the slowness, and we are definitely looking into it like hardcore. So.
Well, before this week, it seemed to be slow, but then this week, the opening documents is misbehaving.
Okay.
So it seems to be a new facet of problem.
Yeah.
To me, anyway.
If you guys ever have any issues at home or here or anywhere, my extension is 97373, or I'll give you my phone number. Feel free to contact me. I'll work with you personally. We'll gather some, if anything, gather some evidence. If I can't fix it on the spot, I'll report it to them, and that's what I've been doing. We
And
have
people
a
can
huge
bring you offline. They can bring it to you offline. We don't.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
thank you very
absolutely.
much, Luke.
Yep, anytime. Feel free to call me, and I'll work with you on anything you got going on.
Appreciate it. Need faster gerbils. Seeing no other speakers, I'd like to have a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Motion by Romano, support Zinner. Please.
Motion passes 12-0.